abbreviated version of the PowerPoint that I've been doing for a while now. Some things have sort of changed with regards to how we'll be marketing some investment real estate in the future. So going to be sharing some things about that. I'm going to take questions at the conclusion of today's webinar. So if you look to the right of your screen, you've got a dashboard there. Down towards the bottom, there's a little button on there. It says questions. You just click on that, and a little screen will pop up. And you can type your questions in there, and I will take your questions at the end of today's webinar. So we've been advertising some changes in the game, and there has been some changes in the game. And these changes didn't just happen this month or last month or really even late last year. This has been kind of on an evolution of how people are acquiring real estate in this market today. And so we're going to be doing something a little bit different. This has been on the drawing board for really a number of months now. So we're introducing it this week. We'll be introducing it again this Thursday on 2 more webinars, and then we'll be doing 4 more next week as this thing sort of grows. And again, I want to thank you for being here. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So specialized REO groups have been around since 2008. For those of you that don't know what a specialized REO group is, a specialized REO group is someone that buys real estate, has it fixed up, rehabs it, and then rents it out, and then sells it to an investor for cash flow purposes, for the purpose of buying, buy and hold real estate. And so this, the mortgage meltdown in 2008 sort of created an industry of these companies that were specialists in going out and finding investment properties and selling. And their value add, what they really kind of brought to the party is that, number one, they were able to find the resources on the ground in a particular market to identify investment real estate, and then rehab it, of course, having management in place, and creating what they called a turnkey property. So that was the buzzword that everybody used. It's turnkey. It's all done. It's rented. It's rehab. And they would sell that to an investor. And that's really been going on since really 2008. And the value add these companies did bring to the table was important, because for most people, they don't have the ability to go out there and do some of these things like identify the property and fix it up and do all the things that have to be done. So the specialized REO group absolutely served a purpose. It was that they were very important, integral part of the real estate market. That is slowly changing, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. I have been doing webinars with specialized groups for about 4 years now, well, almost 5 years now, about 4.5 years. Some of the groups that I've spotlighted and I've done webinars with, the Summit Assets Group based up in San Francisco. I've done a lot of work with REO Reseller over the years. Virtuoso Capital and Ray Russo. We've done a number with Ray talking about buying real estate through the perspective of a financial planner. Premier Equity Group, a company that was one of the first ones actually to allow someone to buy direct from the wholesaler, which is what we're going to be talking about today. How do you buy direct? And that's going to be the main focus of our webinar. Accuplan, I've done I don't know how many, 20, 30 with Accuplan. I did 4 last week with Accuplan San Francisco and Accuplan San Diego. UDirect IRA, I've been a guest twice on a radio program called Real Estate 360, carried by the Wall Street Journal Radio Network, talking about the stuff we're going to be talking about today, the market, what's going on in the market. I was actually one of the first ones to be selling direct from wholesalers to hedge funds. We're going to talk about that. I got a couple of large hedge fund clients, and I've been marketing to them for a number of years now. I was one of the first ones that sort of jumped into that pool. So that's what we're going to be sort of talking about today. The market has rebounded, and some folks say, is it the right time to buy? I mean, I saw people will attend these webinars and they'll say, gee whiz, man, should I have gotten in back in 2008 and 9 when the market was really hot? And I said, no, I don't think so. I think this is still a good time to buy. Or, the market's up 12% across the board in 2013. We've been doing webinars for 2 months now talking about the statistical data that we have available now from 2013 and what happened in 13. Yeah, the market climbed. It came back. It came roaring back, actually. And so people, their obvious, thought was, wow, is it too late to buy? And we don't think so. We think this is the best time to buy, and we'll talk about that. So where's the market going now? Again, we spent a lot of time the last couple of months talking about where we've been, and what I want to focus on today is where it's going, where I think it's going. I've spent a lot of thought, a lot of time into this sort of methodology in terms of marketing. I think this is really going to be the way people are going to be buying homes for the next, really between now and the time the market begins to cap out. So let's first review what we know. let's look at what we know is going on in the market. The first thing that we know is that hedge funds continue to buy. I'll talk about that a little bit. We know that the hedge fund buyer is still out there in a big way. They spent $9 billion in 2013 buying investment real estate. They're extremely aggressive. I do deal with all these groups, except for John Paulson's group. I do not deal with John Paulson's group. But I deal with Blackstone. They're the largest owner of single-family homes in America today. Warren Buffett's group is actually called Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. It's really Prudential Real Estate. Warren Buffett in 2012 purchased Prudential Real Estate. That Warren Buffett was interviewed in about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and they asked him, is buying single-family residence a good strategy? And he responded by saying, I think that buying single-family homes is the best investment you can make, and I'd buy millions of them if it were practical, but that I'm not very handy. And what he was sort of talking about was, I'm really don't have infrastructure to do what needs to be done to be successful. Well, being Warren Buffett, he went out and he purchased Prudential Real Estate. That's now called Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. They do have buyers that are aggressively looking to buy properties. And then there's Property Direct. Sort of remember that name because this is where it sort of started for me. This is one of my biggest clients. I sell these folks properties. Well, I try to sell them properties every day. They're called Buy PD or Buy Property Direct. They are a hedge fund. They're a large fund. They're in about 13 or 14 markets. I sell them homes in 4 of those markets, 3 in particular. But that's what they do. They are a company who's extremely aggressive, buying real estate for the purpose of holding it. And so those are some of the hedge fund guys. Clearly, they're still very much in the market. They still consider this to be the best investment in America today. Blackstone, I mentioned them. They are the largest owner of single-family homes. They own 31,000 homes in 13 markets across the United States. They have the largest opportunistic fund ever raised, $13.3 billion. Of course, I mentioned Warren Buffett, probably the most bullish of all the investors with regards to the housing market. And one thing that Warren Buffett's consistently said, and if you Google Warren Buffett and real estate, you'll see this all over the place, but this quote right here, despite progress, the housing market is far from recovered. He firmly believes, and we believe, that the market has rebounded, yes, but it's got a long way to go. We've even seen statistics that say it's got 47% still to climb. Well, if that's true, and you buy in any market and you're getting let's just say you're getting 37% appreciation over a 5-year period, you're doing extremely well on a buy and hold, and that's their model. Then, of course, John Paulson, he's the guy that accurately predicted that the housing bubble was going to burst, recently quoted saying, nope, it's not too late to get involved. I still think buying a home is the best investment any individual can make, and affordability is still at an all-time high, and that's true. In most of these markets, prices are still at historic lows. Have they come up? Yeah, they have come up. No question about it. The market's recovering. Every statistical thing you read will tell you that the market is coming up. But has it gotten close to where it was? Not even close, which is why all these funds are still in it. And so what's their buying criteria? Why are they buying? Well, appreciation, clearly. They're looking for markets that appreciate. And then they're looking for passive income. Now, obviously, for you, the small investor, it's really more passive income than it would be for some of these larger guys, because some of these larger guys now, for the most part, are actively involved in managing the properties, where most individual investors aren't. But for the big hedge fund guy, they've bought their own. Well, Warren Buffett bought Prudential. Why do you buy Prudential? Because they had infrastructure to manage his homes. High ROI. You want to look for a high ROI, and we're going to try to stick to the mantra of 13% cap. If you're getting 13% on your money in an investment that's real estate, that's appreciating 7 to 15% in a particular market each year, you can do the numbers for yourself. It's quite a compelling investment, which is why the hedge fund guys are all here. Tax benefits, absolutely. I'm not a tax preparer or a tax accountant. You want to consult with a professional, but clearly one of the reasons why folks do this is for the tax benefits of it. No statistical barometer you will read will tell you anything other than rents are going to continue to go up. And so you have an investment today, you're making 13% on your money, and your investment's going to continue to go up in value, and your rents, your cash flow is going to go up with it. Retirement income, we're going to be doing a webinar next week. I think I have scheduled next Thursday with AccuPlan. I'm going to be talking about retirement income, using your 401k, your self-directed IRA to rebuild your retirement portfolio. Creative exits, clearly there's lots of ways to liquidate inventory today, so that's another strong plus in this market that you're in right now, is that there's a ton of ways to exit that market. And then finally, number 8, inventory is at a historic low, and that's the bottom line. We'll talk about your keys to success, and one of those keys, well, actually maybe the number 1 key, is buying at the right price. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So what's the hedge fund guy's strategy? Well, I can tell you that I get buying criteria from hedge funds regularly because they changes regularly. So whenever they have a change in what they're buying, they'll send out a notice to the people they work with it. This is our new criteria. Maybe it's, we need 1970 and newer. We need at least 2-bedroom, 1-bath with a carport. We don't want anything in the inner cities. We want to buy in these particular zip codes. We like these 15 markets. They give you their buying criteria. That's part of their strategy. The second part of their strategy is what do they do with it after they buy it? Now, we understand what they're going to do, what it takes for them to buy an investment property. What do they do with it after they acquire it? Only one fund that I work with flips. The rest hold. This is Jonathan Gray, CEO of Blackstone, being quoted here saying that they believe that the single-family housing market will remain bullish for 2 to 4 more years. Agree with that. Believe it's also market-dependent. There are some markets that don't have 2 years left in them. I don't believe Phoenix and Vegas has 2 years left. I believe there's some markets that have more than 4 years left. So I think it's market-dependent, but I agree with that quote. But their strategy, isolate key markets for growth. In other words, markets that they know are appreciating. Renovate those properties, invest no more than 10% of the purchase price, and then lease them. And that they have a 94% occupancy rate. And then he goes on to say, we're trying to build a long-term business here, which means that their strategy is to buy and hold. Now, does that mean that they're not going to bundle those assets up in 5 years and sell them as a security to international investors? Yeah, that sounds like something a hedge fund would do. And that may be their exit strategy. But for the moment, it's a buy and hold strategy, and we agree with that as well. So what else do we know? This is Bloomberg from just about 10 days ago, February 6th. About 77% of investors with at least $1 million in assets own real estate. Direct ownership of residential and commercial properties was the #1 alternative investment for 2014, with 1/3 of all millionaires surveyed saying they plan to buy this year. So we know the hedge funds are buying. We know the rich guys are buying. Why are they buying? There's compelling reasons why they're buying. Again, Bloomberg, February 6th. Again, wealthy investors are turning to a rebounding real estate market as a fixed income yield remains historically low and equities surge. You can get in cheap, prices are going up, yields are strong, and the market's still climbing. That's the way that the wealthy investors seize the market. 44% of all sales in 2013 were purchased in cash transactions. The percentage of cash sales in September was bumped to 45%. This is from credit.com. These are homes that were sold with no loan recorded at the time of closing. So there's no loan, cash. Why? Cash investors are buying real estate. Why? For all the reasons we talked about, ROI, appreciation, cash flow, tax benefits, all those things that hedge fund guys see this market as the safest place to have their money, and that's why they're flocking to this market. Again, Business Wire from February 11th, just last week, Prudential Real Estate, again, that's Warren Buffett's group, talking about their outlook indicating that consumers' perception of residential real estate is increasingly favorable, and that consumers are more committed to buying and selling homes in 2014 than they were last year. So for all those people that are saying, man, I missed the market, I missed the boat, I should have gotten in before when the price was, I don't agree with that at all. And one of the reasons I don't agree with that is because now the market's mature, and there's opportunities in this market now for the private investor to take advantage of, more so than there's ever been since I've been doing this, at least since 2009. I've not seen an opportunity greater for the investor than what they see right now today. So how does the individual investor take advantage of this market? There's a number of keys, and I'll just touch on 6 of them. Number one, you got to buy below market value. That's the most important thing, and I say that I've been saying that forever anyway. That's an easy, really an easy piece. You have to be buying below market value. You've got to buy something that has equity in it when you walk in the front door. That is the absolute key to buying investment real estate. You want to buy direct. We're going to talk about that today. How do you buy direct? I'm going to get into that in a few slides here. You don't want to buy anything that's not off market. If it's on the MLS, it's not going to be a good deal. I know you think it might be a good deal, but remember, when you're buying investment real estate, you're not buying it emotionally like you would your house that you live in. You're buying it strategically as an investment. So if you buy it on the MLS, you're not going to get a good deal. You want to get it from a wholesaler, and you want to get it off market. Number 4, you want to look for both ROI and appreciation. What does that mean? Return on your investment is the year-to-year gain that you get on your investment. So what's my rate of return over a 12-month period of time? I say 13% and up is where you need to be, especially if you're buying direct from a wholesaler. That doesn't say that you can't get cap rates and ROI that's in the 8, 9, 10 percentile range that isn't a good buy, because they can be, especially if they're in a market that's really appreciating, really aggressively appreciating. You'll make up for that. But in my book, the best deals that I see are the ones that are cash flowing 12%, 13% annually, and doing 7 to 15% in appreciation. Those are conservative numbers, but you want to look for both. I'll give you an example. I like the Atlanta market, but the Atlanta market right now, you're looking at cap rates year-on-year returns of 6, 7, 8%, but the appreciation could be 12, 13, 14%. But other markets, you can get 12, 13, 14% cash on cash, plus 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 appreciation. So to me, getting both is where you want to invest your money. Have your infrastructure in place. Now, we're going to talk about property management today because there's some key pieces to that. But you want to make sure that you've got quality property management. I'll talk about that more in a few slides, but that is critically important to having success. Number 6, understand what your strategy is, and we'll talk about that. You know, I talked a minute ago about hedge funds. When hedge funds decide, when a hedge fund manager sits in his office and calculates all these numbers and analyzes all these markets, and then goes to his marketing team and says, that's our buying criteria, and then I get an email saying, this is now our buying criteria, there's a reason why they have that criteria. You should understand your own criteria as well. Understand your strategy. What are you trying to accomplish? Are you in it for short term? You want to do a fix it up and flip? Do you want to do a 1-year buy and hold, take advantage of the tax benefits for a year, buy it under market value, earn $6,000, $7,000 in cash over a period of 12 months in rental income, and then sell it for a $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 profit? Is that your strategy is incredibly important because that dictates what you buy. So understand your strategy. Ken Corsini, who I use Ken's blogs all the time in my webinars. I used his actually 2 weeks ago. He was the one that wrote the top 10 reasons to buy and hold real estate. He's actually the guy that wrote the top 10 reasons, or excuse me, the top 10 tax reasons to buy real estate. But Ken wrote this in 2011, and so I found it interesting that even in 3 years ago, he was saying, find yourself a good wholesaler. If you don't have the ability to go down to the courthouse steps and find the house yourself, that's okay. Most people don't have that patience, knowledge, or ability to do that. But in real estate, a wholesaler is typically somebody who's doing the legwork to find the good deals to sell to other investors at the wholesale price. So understand what a wholesaler does. The hedge funds now buy from the wholesalers. The hedge funds buy directly from the sellers or the owners. If you own a piece of property, I can sell your house. I can take your house to a hedge fund guy, as long as it's got a tenant. If there's a tenant, I can take it to a hedge fund guy, and they'll make you an offer on that property. But hedge fund guys buy from the wholesalers. They don't buy from the retailers. They don't buy from the specialized REO groups. They buy from the wholesalers. The wholesaler is the guy that's on the ground. He's the guy that's in a market that's typically a guy that's been there for a while. He's lived in that community. He knows the community. He's got construction crews. He's got access to property. He knows the people in the real estate world. He knows the people in the banks. He's the guy that gets the deals. He's the guy that gets the first deals off the market. He's the guy that then sells them to the specialized REO group, and the specialized REO group historically would then sell it to the consumer. So the wholesaler is the guy on the front line. He's the guy with the boots on the ground. He's the guy that's finding the best deals. And then he obviously will do the work, rehab it, and then sell it to somebody who then would sell it to somebody else. That's who a wholesaler is. So how do you cut out the middle guy? So how do you do that? Now here's what's changed. For the past 4 years, almost 5 years, the wholesalers were indigenous to the specialized REO groups. They had people that they worked with, and that's all they worked with. But as time has progressed, well, as an example, I started getting calls from wholesalers about 7, 8 months ago. I would just get calls saying, hey, I know you do webinars. I got these great properties. Well, let me see what you've got. And then you look at what they have, you go, holy smokes, this guy's got some great stuff, great properties, beautifully rehabbed, all done, ready to go. He got it at a great price. He did a great job rehabbing it. Now he's going to offer it to the greater community. So what's happened is the wholesalers have figured out that they don't need that specialized group. So those specialized REO groups are being challenged by the ever more prevalent wholesalers that identify the properties in those respective markets. Now, how do you get access to those properties and how do you do that directly? Well, this is what we've recently done. This is what we've been sort of working on here. We've launched a website. This is through an associate of mine called Income Properties HQ. So incomepropertyheadquarter.com. It's basically it's a housing warehouse. It's where people go that have properties that want to sell them. They put them, the wholesalers, they put them on this website, and we're going to drive people to that website. Now, there were some keys in saying, yeah, we'll take on your properties onto our website. And one of them, obviously, was to have the property management already in place and for the property to already be rehabbed. There'll be no properties that are unrehabbed on that site. They'll all be completely rehabbed properties. They also have to have the property management already in place. So they were vetted to make sure that all that was in place. So these are the markets that we can now get inventory to where you can buy direct from the wholesaler that founded it, not through a group. You're not going to buy it through Income Property. You're going to buy it directly from that wholesaler. So Memphis, Atlanta, Birmingham, Toledo, Kansas City, Detroit, there's more to come, but for the moment we're comfortable there. We're looking at a couple spots in Florida. But this is a wholesaler's website. This is a place where wholesalers can say, okay, I don't need to go to this group to sell it to them at a lower margin. I can take it and I can sell it to somebody else, make a greater margin, and still give that guy at the end of the day a heck of a deal, a way better deal. I'm going to just talk about a couple of markets for those of you that don't know why we spend time in the market. Now, I could spotlight every market that was on that slide there. We don't have time to do that. So we'll talk about Birmingham first. This is CNN Money from about a month ago. This is their listing of the top 10 housing markets in the United States and for 2014. Birmingham, Alabama was ranked number 8. They project a 7.8% increase year ending in September, so about 7 months from now. If you're not familiar with Birmingham, Birmingham has seen a 54% increase in housing prices since 2008. It saw a 12% increase in 2013, a 17% increase in 2012. The market there is climbing, which is the reason why we have a lot of hedge fund buyers in that market also looking to buy real estate. They say CNN again says the 8th best overall real estate market in the country, the 3rd fastest growing real estate market in the country. New Wire Investor says it's the 3rd best cash flow market in the country, and I'll show that to you in a couple slides here. A large part of that is they've invested $1 billion in the downtown district. They built a minor league baseball stadium right downtown, restaurants, bars, clubs, places that were old warehouses are now nightclubs and restaurants and whatnot. They put a lot of money into it. Birmingham, believe it or not, is the 3rd, rated number 3 in the United States for building personal net worth. The market there is extremely strong in real estate. The economy is extremely strong, and it's climbing, and it's got a long way to go. Second market is Memphis. This is a great market, always has been a great market. I didn't know anybody down there that had property, that had infrastructure management in place. Now we do. We were going to have one profile today. I didn't have enough time to get on. Actually, we had a couple properties I wanted to profile today. But to give you an idea, in Memphis, $35,000 in Memphis buys you a property cash flowing almost 16% in a market that's going to go up, well, according to CNN Money, again, the top 10, or excuse me, Memphis is 10th on the list of top 10 hottest housing markets for 2014. They project a 7.3% real estate appreciation to September of 2014. So $35,000 buys you a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house that's cash flowing almost 16% ROI with a 7.3% projected appreciation through September. Memphis Business Journal just said, hey, just CoreLogic says same thing. They're going to see 8% through September, and it doesn't believe that trend is going to stop. But Memphis is always one of the best markets to buy in. Memphis has always been a difficult market because, again, you need property, you need infrastructure. Now, we don't have a lot of inventory down there, but we suspect we can find 3 to 5 properties every week down there that hit those kind of numbers. This gives you some ideas. Kansas City, Missouri. This is what happens when you buy from a wholesaler. This property is valued at $66,000. It's being sold at $57,000. It's got a cash flow of 15% in a market going up about 8% in 2014. Again, Birmingham. This is being sold directly by an owner, someone that actually owns this property. There's no middlemen here at all. This is just a for sale by owner type of thing. It's worth $77. He's selling it at $46. It's got a 14% cap on it. So it gives you an idea. Remember I talked about appreciation and cash flow? Well, you're getting 14% cash and cash in your money, plus you're getting some percent appreciation on your money. You can do the math on that, and you're buying it under market value. And again, that's the key. 46.9 I'm in. That's one you could probably hold for a year and sell it for $60,000 pretty easily and make a nice little profit on it. Same type of thing. Investorfi is a group that we'll be working with closely going forward. This gives you another idea. Pricing this is $43.9. The appraisal value says it's worth $82,000. It's completely rehabbed, it's completely rented, and it's cash flowing at 16.5%. Another one, and by the way, this confirms the fact that Birmingham did see snow last week. This picture is brand new, and you can see snow on the roof here. But again, appraisal said it's worth $67,000. They're going to sell it for $47,000. It's already cash flowing at over 15%. That is sold by 3D Properties, another wholesaler. These are all wholesalers. Now, these aren't specialized groups. If you called me up and said, hey, I'm interested in one of those properties, you'd be put in touch with the guy that owned it, the guy that bought it, rehabbed it, and is selling it. Can you buy in bulk? You know, we get these all the time. I mean, when I send stuff to a hedge fund guy, it's because they typically do look for bulk. Now, I will tell you that hedge funds right now aren't buying as much bulk property as they were a year ago. They like to cherry pick now, but they still do buy some bulk properties. This just gives you an idea. This is 6 homes in Macon, Georgia. 6 homes. They're rehabbed, they're rented, and they're cash flowing. The investment amount is $84,000. That's not for each property. That's for 6 properties. The yearly cash flow after expenses, and I got the spreadsheet on this one, and I got the rent rolls on this one. When they did their net number on this, they didn't just take out insurance, taxes, and management fee. They actually took out repairs. Like I think they had $130 in repairs per month, and they've taken out vacancies. So they have a contingency in there that if somebody moves out and you've got a property vacant for a month, that they factored into their net. So they say after all that, their net cash flow is $27,000 a year on an $84,000 investment. That's a 33%. You only see those types of returns when you're buying in bulk. Now, if you can get 14, 15, 16% ROI on an investment property, that is an extremely good, that is what a hedge fund guy looks for. That's what they're buying. And these numbers are very similar to what those guys would buy. In bulk, your number is going to go up. If you're going to buy something in bulk, you're going to get a better deal. If I saw all 6 of these, you're getting a great deal. It's going to cash flow like crazy for you. It's got a huge ROI, but $84,000 for $27,000 a year in revenue. So the hedge fund guys get to choose their buying criteria, so we believe you should too. So what's coming is on that website. I'm going to show you some of that in here just 1 second. But on that website that's not completely finished yet, where the properties will all be housed for you to view, there'll be a site, and you can go to that site and you can fill in your buying criteria. So there'll be a form on there that'll say, what is your buying criteria? Now, see, if we know your criteria, I mentioned a little while ago, when a hedge fund buyer decides what their criteria is, you get an email that says, this is our criteria. When you find things that fit that, please send that information to, and they always have an acquisition specialist on board that you interface with, and you send them the stuff, and then you go back and forth and negotiate, blah, blah, blah. So, but they start by having buying criteria. So I thought, you know what, I think an individual should too. So we're going to have a link on our page that's going to say, what's your buying criteria? You can open that up, you can click, and you can say, I want to do a buy and hold, or I want to do a buy and flip, and I want to be in any one of these 4 markets, and I want to have it tenanted, or no, I want to have it vacant, I want to do the work myself. And what my price range is $30,000 to $60,000. Those are the things that we need to know. And let me tell you why that's important, because in a lot of cases, I mean, this is an example I was telling somebody today. This is a couple of months ago. I had a guy that contacted me and said, I just want to buy in the New York market. And if you get anything there that's reasonable, anything with a 10% cap or better, I'll buy it. And I said, great. If I come across something, I'll let you know. Well, about 2 weeks ago, I got an email from somebody that had some really good property in New York that fit his criteria. The problem was I couldn't remember what the guy's criteria was, and I couldn't remember who he even was. I didn't even keep his name. So what we said, well, let's do this. Let's find out what people want to buy, what fits for their particular profile, and then when we find something that fits, we can call and say, hey, guess what? We found something today that might fit for what you're looking to do. And you know what? You may never find something that fits for what you want to do. I mean, you may be looking for, oh, and this is true. I had somebody else contact me and said, we just want 20% cap rates. And I said, well, there's not a lot of homes with a 20% cap rate, but if I find a couple, I'll let you know. But the point is that I now at least I was smart enough to keep his information to know if I find something that fits for him, I can contact him. If I know what you're trying to accomplish, I want to be in it for a year. I want to buy something that isn't a buy and hold, but isn't a buy and flip, but something I can buy and keep for 18 months, make a little bit of cash, sell it, and make 5 to 10,000, in over what I purchased it for. Okay, if I know that, then when I find something that fits that, then I can. So we're going to put that on our page. You give us the criteria, and we'll be able to better help you. So that's how the hedge fund buyers buy. This is what they do to acquire property. And so what the intent of Income Property Headquarters is to simply be able to provide an outlet for the wholesaler to meet you, the buyer. That's how a hedge fund buyer acquires real estate, buy direct from the source. You eliminate the middleman. Now you can do that too. When it says here, join our mailing list, most of you I think are on our emailing list. But if you really want to get intimate with the inventory and understand what's out there, and sort of be notified when something that fits your criteria comes in, I would encourage you to let us know what that criteria is. So with that, that is my PowerPoint today. I did that in 35 minutes. I want to thank everyone for being here. I'm going to take questions now. So if you look to the right of your screen, and there's already a question in here, so I'll get to that question in 1 second. But if you look to the right of your screen, there's a question down below that says, button that says questions, and that's in your dashboard. If you click on that, I will be happy to answer your questions for you. The question that is in the queue is do you pay referral fees to refer someone to your company? The answer is yes, we do. Contact me about that. I can tell you about that. But yeah, all the sellers that sell these properties will pay a fee, and in some cases, buyers pay fees too. So there's fees in this. So if you're looking to refer somebody, maybe you got a client that's interested in doing something with investment real estate, which is a great strategy if you're trying to help somebody put together an investment portfolio or retirement portfolio. And I tell you, on that front, if that's what you're thinking, that you got some clients and you want to get a fee for that, I would encourage you to attend one of our webinars next week, or ask me for a copy of the recorded ones from last week with Accuplan, because Accuplan did a fabulous job of outlining the benefits of buying real estate from a retirement portfolio perspective, the tax benefits to it. Those are things I can't speak to because I'm not qualified to, but they did a great job of outlining all that, talked about a lot of things that I wasn't even aware of. And again, I can't give counsel on that, but if you join us for our webinars coming up and for our webinars that are recorded, I'd be glad to send those to you. Okay. If I have a house that I want to sell, what do you charge to put that in your website? We don't charge anything. If you've got a piece of property you want to sell, we'll put that on our website, and the buyer will pay a fee, to us to do that. That's just a project fee that they would do. So that's there's no fees for that. If you want to profile your property, you just got to get us the information so we can profile it. The price, just all the data on the property, and we'll put that up on our website. Okay, next question. Since there's no middleman, who do I go to if there's a problem? Okay, Vera, I mentioned this earlier, and it's really important. If you buy a piece of property from a wholesaler, not 9 times, really 10 times out of 10, all these wholesalers will already have property management teams. As a matter of fact, in some cases, and we didn't feature them today, but there's a couple of groups that we will be working with in the future that are wholesalers that are also property management companies. So they find the property, they have their crew go rehab the property, they do all that stuff, and then they sell it, and then they get the management back on it, which is a really good business model. And so there's a number of groups that do that. And so the management company will still be in place. You're not going to be left out in the cold. As I said, infrastructure is really critically important, and so every one of these groups that we profile, we've vetted those out to make sure they had really good property management on the ground. Okay, can you help us resell the house and we want you to? I think the first question that was asked kind of answers that. If you were to buy a property through a wholesaler and you decided in a year you wanted to sell it, absolutely. We put it back up on the site for you. Actually, there's a number of ways. I mentioned creative exits in today's market. There's a lot of ways to sell a property. I mean, you can put a for sale sign in the front yard. You can take it to a hedge fund. You can profile it on not just our website, but other websites that are like that profile properties for sale. So there's a lot of ways to exit. We'd absolutely help you do that, sure, of course. I have a small 7-unit rental unit in Mississippi. Any use to you? Absolutely. there's a lot of folks that love not just single-family homes, but duplexes, fourplexes, little that sounds like a small apartment, small 7-unit rental unit, and yeah, absolutely. Actually, I've done some properties in Jackson, Mississippi. I forgot all about that. I should probably contact them. Jackson, Mississippi is I don't know where in Mississippi it is. Maybe you can let me know. But I've done some stuff in Jackson, Mississippi, and actually, I've got a hedge fund there that buys in Jackson. Now that I think about it, so yeah, I would love to see that. Absolutely, send me the details over. Write my name and number down on the screen here, and give me a shout or my email address, and send me what you have, and I would love to look at that. Absolutely. And by the way, just as a footnote to that, states are really the only state that I've not really seen investment real estate in is Hawaii, and Alaska, I guess. Hawaii and Alaska. Other than that, I've seen properties over the last 4 years. I've seen something probably in every state. I don't know that for 100% certainty, but I get stuff all the time, and a lot of that's because of this. I do these webinars, and someone like, you know, the lady that just asked that question, you know, hey, I got this. Can you help me market it? And, you know, sure. There's a lot of buyers out there right now, and we've developed sort of a network in the last 4 years, just doing these and educating people on the market and sort of pointing people to their best, you know, to their best source to accomplish whatever they're trying to accomplish. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna move that black box. That's probably the questions box too. There you go. There's the information right there. Okay. I don't see any other questions. Matt, we got any other questions? Okay. That's all the questions we have. We're gonna do. I'll hang out here for another second, see if anybody else has a question. We're going to do 2 more of these on Thursday. I can never remember the times. I want to say 11 and 2. 10 and 11. Oh, 10 and 11:30. Back-to-back on Thursday, 10 and 11:30. We'll be doing this again. As I mentioned, the website is not yet complete, so when you go there, please don't throw any stones at us. It's just not finished yet. We're working on it. But the buying criteria will be up there. We're going to be announcing a rewards program on Thursday. The rewards program will be if you refer anyone to the webinar and or to the site and they purchase, they will pay you 1% of the purchase price. It's not a bad deal. If somebody buys a $50,000 property, they'll pay you $500 for sending them to the site. So there'll be a rewards program. That'll be up on the link. So in other words, you'll be able to join the site. You'll be able to log on, have a username and password. You'll be able to get in, see all the cool stuff that's going on. And then, of course, if you refer somebody to it, you're going to get a reward for it. If they purchase something, or if they refer somebody to purchase something, they'll get a reward for that too. So we'll be announcing that on Thursday. I think that's all the questions. So I want to thank everyone for being here today. And again, if you got any questions, you've got my number here. You're more than welcome to give me a shout. You got my email address if you got questions. And I want to thank everyone for being here, and look forward to talking to you soon. I'll hang out here for a minute in case somebody has asked a question late. That does happen, so I'm going to just hit my mute button here. If somebody's got a question they want to ask, I'll hang back for another minute. And again, thanks, everybody.